Hi and welcome to the Studio Marco Primeau. This is gonna be part 3 of 3 DAWs, 3 sounds. Of course, I must admit it's gonna be 2 DAWs, 2 sounds because I don't own the 3 software. The only 2 I own is the Samplitude and Sonar. So since I didn't want to buy another DAW, I don't need any. Just for the sake of the argument, of course, it's not very hard to understand. So we're comparing Samplitude and Sonar today, and I've been challenged a lot about those videos in the near past, and here's one of the opposition that get me worked on the third part.
If they didn't null for you, you somehow messed up. That's all there is to it. Epic fail. There have been done countless nulling tests like this over the years by numerous people, and the results was always, as it should be, that they all null. Search the web, so if they do not null for you, that only proves that you failed somehow. End of story. What's your character values on the instances of ProR you use? Here's a simple test anyone can do to educate himself. Use an algorithm reverb of your choice.
So you get the point. A lot of people believe, and maybe they are right, that all DAWs sound the same. The thing is, my videos were created at first with out of the box in mind. So you buy the software or you download a trial, and then you load some files and do a mix and see if it sounds different. For me, at first listen, it was sounding different. So I started to make some tests to be sure that my ears were not lying to me. And so I posted a first video with just different mixing and the results. The second video came up after a lot of questions and debates about panning laws and other aspects of the software. So I made some mono tests and some null tests that weren't done in the first video, and now I'll be going further because some of the questions that you just heard. So what I'm gonna do today is, of course, they will be all null tests. First with effect, no effect, with levels, with no levels, with nothing at all. And we're gonna, of course, also different bit depth, and we'll see if there's some differences or not, and how different they are. So let's start. Here you see me checking the mixing in Sonar, making sure that all the levels are at 0 dB and the master is at minus 5. And I'm going to replicate the same settings in Samplitude, so you can see all the pannings are at 0, the levels are at 0 too, and the output, the master, is at minus 5 dB. So let's hear the first test.
I'm not so afraid to sink down this way. The frozen ground has been a friend to me. sink down this way. The frozen ground has been a friend to me. I'll walk straight in to that howling wind. I'm not so afraid to sink down this way. The frozen ground has been a friend to me. I'll walk straight in to that high. I'm not so afraid to sink down this way. The frozen ground has been a friend to me. I'll walk straight in to that howling wind and lie right down inside my fiery.
Here you see me checking all the settings for the last test. The last test is no mixing, so there's no level change, no panning change, no effects, no gain change. Everything is at 0. So and I'm doing the same with samplitude, of course. The only thing that I change is the output to avoid peaks above 0 dB, and so so I'm putting a -5 dB for the master output, but the rest, everything is at 0. So let's hear that test.
I'm not so afraid to sink down this way. The frozen ground has been a friend to me. I'll walk straight in to that howling wind and lie right
I recorded the conclusion of this video a few times now. And what I can say is, for those that wish to say that all DAWs sound the same, it might be true. But just wait a moment. The fact is that the tests that I made were all export done inside the DAW. There was nothing getting out of the DAW and coming back, or interpreted by the drivers or anything. So if you remove everything, the panning, the levels, the effects, and you match the volume, you get a perfect null. So you got it. The DAWs, both DAW sound the same, okay? But there's a nuance there to be made. If I'm playing with the pannings, the pan laws are not the same in both software. If I'm adding effects, plugins, if I use the internal plugin, with which I didn't do here because I wanted null test to be perfect, so I took the same plugins with the same settings that I saved and loaded in both DAW to make sure that the null test will be perfect. But nobody does that in the real world. In the real world, you load your music or record, and then when you start to mix, you react to what you hear. And what you are hearing is what's coming out of the speakers. And the speakers, of course, the sound comes from your interface and the drivers, and there's a bunch of things happening when the software generate the sound going out for the converters. So there might be a lot of things that will sound different to your ears, but in theory, if you remove everything that you're supposed to be doing when you mix, then the DAWs sound the same. Anyway, please make your own conclusion. If you want to discuss about it, put it in the comments below. I hope this will be the last video about comparing DAWs. You can have your own opinion. I'm not a specialist of DAW programming or anything of that sort. So for me, when I started to use Samplitude, I heard a difference. Maybe I was dreaming, but the difference was enough to make me switch DAW. So why don't you try them and choose the one that fits your needs and the workflow that you like? And if you feel that the sound is different and is better for you, well, go ahead, buy the DAW and enjoy it. And so let me know what you think in the comments. If you like this video, well, don't forget to subscribe, click on like, hit the bell to get notifications. And there's an upcoming video that I started to work on about mastering workflow. So I hope you will enjoy this one.